Greetings, greetings, greetings. This is your brother Chief Flying Eagle, Ra Elohim. All right, so I'm going to share some information with you. I'm going to make an attempt to do this in a short time, as much as the information will allow me to, right? But a lot of people are not aware of the Jubilee. I've been speaking about that since 2017, and I don't think people know the true significance, even if they heard about it, the true significance of what it means, or else there would be more of an urgency to take action within the Jubilee. So I'm going to break that down to you, and hopefully that would initiate a form of a call to action, so to speak, because we have to make moves as a collective, first as individuals, and then as a collective, because we are the only ones that will be able to gain back our own sovereignty. All right, the so-called powers there be are not going to make it happen. The church is not going to happen. The politicians are not going to happen. All right, they're not going to make it happen. So we are the ones that have to step up and put the pressure on them. All right, so that we could basically let them know this is what it is and this is what's going to happen. All right, so in so many words. So first things first, we're going to look at the etymology of the word jubilee, because we are in a jubilee. All right, a jubilee, 14th century Old Testament sense, from jubilee, anniversary, rejoicing. 14th century, basically, the jubilee year, originally an adjective of the jubilee. All right, and it happens every 50 years. And what happens is a trumpet ram's horn, literally a ram, it sounds. Okay, the original jubilee year of emancipation of slaves and restoration of lands, to be celebrated every 50 years. It was proclaimed by sounding of the horn, the ram's horn, on the Day of Atonement. All right, so most people, like I said, I explained that to everybody in 2017. This is why Trump came into office. All right, because he is the trumpet that sounds or sounded in the Jubilee. And what is supposed to happen? It's the emancipations of the slaves and restore their land. But why do you think all of this is happening in the year of the Jubilee, when Trump is coming out telling people that the 14th Amendment was made and created for the descendants of slaves, and our people got tricked into thinking it's about them? Why do you think the Muskogee Creek Nation and the Cherokee Nation, all of a sudden, they are accepting our people, but on one condition, that they have to come back in as descendant of slaves, freedmen? You feel me? So our people literally just went back into a slave contract, not realizing what they just did, because they're looking for recognition from the corporation. So we are going through the Jubilee, and that's what's taking place. All right, that's what's taking place, and a lot of us are going to get caught up because we don't know what it means, and we don't know the implication of taking certain actions, not knowing exactly the ramifications of such actions. All right, and I just gave you two examples: the Cherokee Nation and the Muskogee Creek Nation. They are, yes, they're being federally recognized by the corporation. However, it's only being done with the acknowledgement that you were the slaves of these natives, who are actually not the original people. So the people who took the deal to be recognized, they are the real Indians. But now they under contract in the Jubilee, okay, saying that they are slaves from Africa, and the Native Americans were their masters. All right. Oh, that's all I'm going to say on that. All right. So that's not the way to go. It may seem like you're making progress, but I promise you, they are not making any progress. They just took them back 50 years into slavery. All right. That's facts. Good. So now you know what the Jubilee is, and we are actually in a Jubilee. Let us go to the next screen that I'm going to share. Give me 1 second. And I'm, like I said, I'm going to try to do this under 10-15 minutes if I can, because I don't want to make it too long. All right, so we're going to look at where the Jubilee of the year ends, or when does the Jubilee year ends. All right, so that's what we're going to look at now. This current Jubilee that we have, right, it ends on January 26th. January 6th, 2026. Now, what also happens on January 6th? Isn't that when the president is supposed to actually go into office? Everything I tell you, my people, it may seem like a coincidence, but it's not. Everything is by design. And a lot of people that are not going to get their affairs in order after January 26th, I'm telling you, the doors are going to be closed, because during the Jubilee, the Vatican opened up the door, all right? And literally, they release souls. They will not tell you that, because they took the footprints of your soul, the sole of your feet, and all that was sent to the Vatican. Now, I'm saying allegedly, right? But you know the reason why I got to say that, okay? However, they have to release those souls at a certain time and give them the opportunity to free themselves. Hence, you are freeing the slaves. All right, the atonement, the Day of Atonement. So when does the Jubilee year end? The Jubilee year officially begins on December 24th, 2024. That's when it started. All right. When does it when Pope Francis opens the holy door of St. Peter's Basilicas in Rome, it will conclude on January 6, 2026. They're going to close the doors, meaning that the souls that did not escape or take the opportunity to emancipate themselves, then it's going to be closed and trapped until the next Jubilee. So most people think this is a game. That's why there's no urgency and people are being distracted. But like I always tell people, man, just watch everything unfold, because I've been telling y'all this since 2017. All right. Now, I'm telling you what's happening. What's the solution? I gave you the solution. Declaration. All right. You have to make your declaration. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at what the definition of declaration is. Let us go into the Black's Law Dictionary, not Black's Law, pardon me, Noah Webster's 1828 dictionary. All right. Declaration. An affirmation, an open expression of facts or opinions, verbal utterance as he declared his sentiments, and I rely on his declaration. 2, expression of facts. So you are stating the fact of who you are in your declaration. It's not an opinion, however, it's a fact. All right. So declaration could be of facts, opinions, promises, predictions, etc., in writing. Okay. It's records or reports of what has been declared or uttered. So you are literally declaring, okay, on paper, in writing, the facts of who you are based on your ancestry. All right. That's your declaration. Now, from a scriptural perspective, abound in declarations of mercy to penitent sinners. We ain't worried about that. 3, publication, manifestation as the declaration of the greatness of, we're not dealing with that, but a public annunciation, proclamation as the declaration of what? Independence. Because when the United States wanted their freedom, okay, they were subjugated. They were subjects of the crown. They wanted their freedom. What they had to do? They declared their independence. So they had what's called a Declaration of Independence. My question is to you is, where is your Declaration of Independence, so you're no longer subjugated to the corporation? That's my question to you. All right. Let us now look at the etymology of the word declaration. Etymology of the word declaration. Here we go. Boom. Declaration, an explanation, a statement of action, of stating clearly. Okay. It has to be precise. It's clear. Okay. A making clear or evident, a disclosure, exposition, a noun of action from past participle, stem from declare, make clear, reveal, disclose, announce. So that's what you are doing. Okay. And you're putting that in writing, and that becomes your declaration of independence. All right. Now, I have given you, like I said before, a copy of a free declaration on myniji.com. So I'm going to go through that declaration with you. Okay. Like I said, I'm trying to knock this out in 10-15 minutes. So let's see if I could get that done. All right. So where do we go from here? myniji.com. You're going to go to the site myniji.com. Okay. That's www.myniji.com. You'll see where it says free trust course PDF, right? The first one you see is Declaration of American Indian Status. Then the next one is Declaration of American Indian Status Supporting Document. You may also want to take a look at the decolonization document as well. All these documents are free. They are a gift from me to you, a powerful declaration. So what we're going to do at this time, we're going to go over the declaration. All right. So you see exactly what it is. Let me see if I could pull that up. Give me 1 second. Where is that declaration at? Right here. So I'm going to pull up that declaration for you. And I'm also going to pull up the supporting document on that. All right. Let me see if I could pull that up. Give me 1 second. Here we go. All right. So I got both of them open up, and I'm going to share my screen once more, and we are going to go over them. All right. One at a time. This is important, so I can't really rush this. I'm trying to do 15 minutes, but it might be a little bit longer. But, you know, you need to at least know this information. Okay, here we go. So this is the Declaration of Original American Status. All right. It's a template that I created. And like I said, I gave it to everybody as a gift. You feel me? Now it says, let me open it up. I, man/woman. You're going to, of course, pick the one you are. Everything in red, you're going to replace it. And after you replace it, you make sure it's back in black text. You're not going to leave it in red. All right. You're going to make sure you put it back to the black text, so it matches your document. All right. So I, man, woman. All right. John or Jane Doe, either or. All right. Of the Doe family. The reason why it's that way is because when you just have John Doe or Jane Doe, it denotes a fiction, a fictitious fiction. However, of the family of, because remember, family comes first, right? So if family comes first, why do you have a first, middle, and last name? Your family name should be first, as it is on your government ID. They're showing you that it comes first. However, when they send you a bill, a ticket, they pull you to court, they want your first, middle, and last name. That's not you. That's the corporate fiction. So you're correcting all of that within that status. You're showing that you know exactly who you are, separating yourself from that legal entity. All right. Known to my tribal people, you're going to put your tribal name. I would suggest you get an indigenous name. All right. A living, breathing, original indigenous American man, woman. Of course, you pick the one that applies to you. Make sure you put it back in black ink. All right. Of the land by blood, which is just sanguineous. All right. Hereby make this formal declaration of my Aboriginal American identity and original standing as descendant/ascendant, because we were descendants. We are no longer descendants, so we are ascending. That's why I wrote the language that way. Of the time immemorial peoples of the Americas. My lineage, ancestry, rightful heritage, and inheritance are rooted in the sovereign and self-governing Aboriginal peoples that predate the colonial and corporate structure imposed upon my ancestral lands. Affirmation of indigenous identity and status. I am an original American, politically identified as American Indian, whose ancestry, customs, and inherent rights are tied to this land since time immemorial, as affirmed by Article 3 of the Northwest Ordinance 1787. All right, and it states, the utmost good faith shall always be observed towards Indians, not Native Americans, but Indians. Their lands and their property shall never be taken from them without their consent, and in their property rights and liberty, they shall never be invaded or disturbed. That happened because we gave up our identity as the American Indians and became all these different colorful terms. Some of it by choice, some of it voluntary, some of it involuntary. But the bottom line is it happened. Now we are in the Jubilee. It's time to step up and make our declaration. All right. Number 2, my identity is not determined by any foreign entity, government, or colonial framework, but rather by my bloodline, cultural heritage, and the natural laws of my ancestors. 3, I affirm that my existence and standing as an original American man/woman. All right. Let me just put slash here. Okay. So, either way, you're going to pick, which one applies to you. All right. So that's fine. um, self-evident, recognized by the customs, traditions, and oral histories of my people. 4, I do not relinquish, surrender, or waive any of my inherent rights, sovereignty, or self-determination under any foreign rule. And that's what the Muskogee Creek and the Cherokee Nation literally had our people do. They gave up their inherent American Indian rights and became Native Americans, who are actually subject of the corporation, taking them back to the 14th Amendment, making them subjects of the corporation. That's what they just did. And also, to make matters worse, accepting the fact that they are freedmen, descendants of slaves from Africa. So they're literally Africans living in America, um, acquiescing, saying that they are prisoners, or not prisoners, but they are slaves of Native Americans. When the truth of the matter is, the Native Americans are not the original people. So that was a mistake. All right. So that was done again, once again, to pull our people into this. I don't even know what to call it, but it's a trap. All right. Now, assertion of rights. 1, I retain my rights as an original indigenous American under natural law, common law, and international declaration, including but not limited to the American Indian Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, AGRIP, United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, H.Conres 331, recognizing American Indians as original sovereigns of this land. Article 3 of the Northwest Ordinance 1787, which affirms that indigenous peoples cannot be deprived of their property, rights, or liberties without their consent. 2, I reject any misclassification that attempts to diminish or redefine my status outside of my rightful standing as an original indigenous American. I assert my lawful right to self-identify, govern, and exist free from unlawful coercion, misclassification, or denial of status and identity by any corporate, municipal, state, or federal entity. 4, as stated in Article 4 of the Northwest Ordinance, I affirm my entitlement in due process, protection from unlawful detainment, and recognition under just law, stating, all right, that the inhabitants of said territory shall always be entitled to benefits of the writ of habeas corpus and of the trial by jury and of judicial proceedings on the according to the course of common law. All right, so this only applies to American Indians. All right, they cannot take habeas corpus away from American Indians. That is the highest law of the land. Always remember that. That's why I tell people that's where our protections are. Number 5, I recognize my standing within my own Aboriginal American community and reserve all my rights, titles, and claims associated with my ancestry and lineage. All right, so literally coming together doing this, we are literally creating our community and we recognize each other. All right, notice to all parties. 1, this declaration serves as a public and lawful notice of my American Indian status in accordance with the Northwest Ordinance, natural law, and international law. Any attempt to deny, alter, or challenge my identity without due cause, lawful justification, or mutual agreement will be deemed an infringement upon my rights as protected by Article 3 of the Northwest Ordinance. 3, this document is lawfully recorded and stands as evidence of my assertion of my race, identity, status, and rights as an Aboriginal American, executed and affirmed on this day. Of course, you're going to autograph, get it notarized, etc., and boom, that's that. All right. Now, the next thing you're going to do is there is also what I created, a supporting document. All right. So we already at 19 minutes. All right. I'm not going to apologize for it being a little lengthy. This was really, really important. All right. So let's see how much more time I have to get this done. Okay, so let's go here. Now, this is the supporting document. So you got the declaration. This is the supporting document that goes with your declaration of original American Indian status, right? Prepared by John Doe, Jane Doe, whatever the case is, known as boom, 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 your indigenous name, right? It says statement of authentication. I, man, woman, John Doe, Jane Doe, whatever the case is, also known within my tribal community, put your tribal name, Submit the following supporting document or documents as verification of my American original indigenous status. These documents, because you may have your ID, you may have a world passport, you may have other documents you could actually put in there as well. All right. So it's really up to you. Okay. So these documents serve as evidence of my ancestral heritage, tribal affiliation, and recognized standing within my community. Attached documents. You have your tribal identification card verifying my standing within my indigenous community. This document/documents, because you may have more than one, are submitted as part of my formal declaration to affirm my sovereign identity as an original indigenous man, woman of the Americas. All right, certification. I certify that the attached is true and accurate copies of my originals in my possession. You're going to sign, and I give you a sample of what the ID looks like. So as you can see, it says original indigenous American, and right above the picture it says American Indian. Authentic certificate of identification. You have your title, which is your indigenous name. CO basically means care of or corner of, indicating that you're taking yourself out of the federal jurisdiction, so to speak. You have the mailing location, New York Republic. If your state is a republic, you put republic. If it's a commonwealth, you put commonwealth, but find out first. Then you see I put the last two letters of the zip code in brackets, taking you out of the federal zone. Non-domestic, Turtle Island, America, because we are non-domestic. Of course, create your own identification number. Underneath the picture, the birth month, so to speak. Your nature is woman or man. All right, whatever applies to you. You put your height, your date of birth, issue date, and then of course it's your own ID. So you could put indefinite, meaning that it never expires, right? And below is the Northwest Ordinance 1787, Article 3. So as you can see, everything is matching up with your declaration. All right, and below the picture, you'll see where it says the birth date, but also your tribe or tribes. So you may be a part of one tribe, Choctaw, Blackfeet, Cherokee, whatever the case is. Okay, Arawak, Taino, Carib. You could put that underneath there. Then you put your autograph. I put my autograph as an example to show you how I did that. All right, Ra-1308. So I'm reserving my rights on my ID itself. Okay. Then the back of the ID. That's the front. That's the back of the ID. It says legal notice, international recognition. This ID affirms inherent indigenous rights, confiscation or denial of recognition violates international law under global human rights, international law on the basis of UNDRIP, ICCPR, Article 27. You could look all of that up, all right, because I want to be as short as possible because I'm already literally approaching 20 minutes, right? So ICSCR, Article 1, the Hague Convention, Private International Law, ILO Convention 1969, ADRIP, the Article Self-Determination, Identity and Governance Rights. As you can see what it says here, the U.S. Constitution. So everything is matching up with your declaration. And then it says international travel ID. Once you scan that, it's going to take you to the UN website that goes into the UNDRIP, United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. All right, so that's that. All right, so like I said, man, you have the option of doing your own ID or having me do it for you. It's an option because when we do the ID, you're getting a professional ID with security features. I'm talking about professional. However, you could do it yourself. All right, so on the document itself, on the declaration, you'll see the instructions, you'll see the email and everything if you want to get it done. My people, don't slip on this. Don't slip on this. All right. We out here, too many debates and people fighting Africans and fighting natives. Get your affairs in order. Get your affairs in order, my people. You feel me? Let us unite and do what needs to be done. That's what, because everybody's talking, nobody's talking about what's next and giving precise solutions. All right. So if we are the ones doing your ID for you, you get a free consultation, a free 15-minute consultation to answer any questions that you have, as long as we're the ones doing it for you. All right. Tell you exactly how to file it, where to send it, everything that needs to be done. So you'll know exactly what to do and not just have a declaration and still be stuck. All right. We're going to make sure you get on the right track. You feel me? This is serious business. Get your affairs in order. I know this was a little bit lengthy, but it just had to be that way. Sometimes we cannot microwave the information. You feel me? The Jubilee ends on January 6, 2026. We need to get our affairs in order so we could start making moves on those, all right, on the behalf of those who haven't gotten there yet. You feel me? Or those that are still stiff-necked. We want to make sure that we are moving forward, so we'll start putting glitches in the matrix. You feel me? So, certain things could get done, because we could make certain moves as individuals, but it's only as the collective we are going to move their machine in the direction and in our favor that we want it to. But we got to make these moves, all right? Because we are living in the day of the atonement, all right, where they are obligated spiritually under galactic and spiritual laws. They have to release the slaves, so to speak. But yet still our people fighting to be slaves. Let us not get caught up in that trap. Okay? This is your brother Chief Flying Eagle, Ra Elohim. Looking forward to your emails if we are going to be doing that for you. If not, you want to do your own thing, I still give you the declaration for free. You dig? You're not obligated to have us do it for you. But out of love, I've been doing this for a while. All right? But out of love, I give it to you for free. I give you the supporting document. You go ahead and do what you got to do. It's all love. All right? You'll still have my support. But like I said, if we do it for you, we'll guide you through it. And the ID will be professional with security features. All right? All right. Peace and love.